We were founded in 1999, so not necessarily a new kid on the block anymore. We are headquartered in DC, but we do have a sales office actually just about 2 blocks away from here, which I might head to afterwards. We have, as mentioned, about 140 publications in 25 key industries, and most of our products are in partnership with trade associations, professional societies, nonprofits, and corporations. And that's the traditional model of SmartBrief. That is what started in 1999. The first ever SmartBrief was GMA SmartBrief, which is the grocery manufacturers, the CPG space. And that is where we had been up until about 2007, 2008, where we continued down that path, but then we opened it up to our own branded publications, which we'll get to later. Here's a look at some of our partners. As you can see, it's sort of a, this is just an aggregation of some of the big names. It's, the alphabet soup of associations. That says there's 3.4 million subscribers, but we are right now on the cusp of 4 million. Depending on what list you look at and what qualifies as a subscriber. Some people have already celebrated in the office, but I don't know if we're there quite yet. There's about 140 newsletters, and if you look at that chart, the publications by year, you can see the growth of where we started in 2000 all the way up to 2010, over 140, and I actually just got an email this morning. We're launching another one soon on mobile, and they are all free to subscribe. And much of them, and I'll get to this a little bit later, it's pretty much a member value. If you are a member of a trade association, you get your SmartBrief, and that's part of what you associate your value, to that membership as part of. So it's an interesting win-win, because oftentimes a lot of our partners, they'll do, they'll send out surveys and they'll say, what is the top things that you get from your association? And always either 1 to 3 is their SmartBrief. One of the things that I'd like to point out here is, if you look at somebody like Scholastic, right? That's our traditional vertical advertiser. They will go into, let's say, ASCD SmartBrief, which is curriculum development. That's for the for the educators and for the principals of the world. Then you have somebody like American Express, and American Express just wants to reach small business people, and so they can advertise through our network. And so that's regardless of what publication they subscribe to. If they fit the classification of who they want, we'll serve out those ads. And our ad serving platform is our own that we built because it's very difficult in the email space to serve out based on impression, because an email is not really an impression, right? So we had to build it ourselves. We tried a lot of different serving platforms, but we ended up building it ourselves to serve this horizontal channel, which is a huge growth engine for us right now. First off, we find news and information. So every day our editors come in and they search the sources that they've identified as important to their industry. And that what they do is they look for articles, features, and consultant reports, and video, audio, it doesn't matter. And they sort of put aside what looks like is the important news of the day. Another thing that we have is we have our own proprietary search. And that's basically a taxonomy that with the partners in the partner briefs, we create a set of keywords and a set of items that they want to make sure we're sticking with. So when we launch a new publication with a partner, it's a very important process to say, okay, here are the items that are important to our industry. Here's what we want to make sure we're covering. So we do that very much in tandem with our partners to make sure we're hitting on what needs to be hit in that particular industry. The model is, once we sign a contract with an association, the agreement is, you give us the biggest list you can possibly give us, right? That's people who are either direct members or affiliated or have been at your conference, and we will launch to that list. And we will launch that list. Everything's opt-in. We don't just throw them in there. And over time, we continually hit new lists that they provide us. And we say, typically it's twice a year. We will say, hey, as part of your membership, did you know that this SmartBrief is available? So that's the opportunity. It's introducing, and then in turn, sharing revenue, and we'll get to that later, sharing revenue from advertising. We don't sell our lists. We never do standalone, not never, but we typically don't do standalone emails, even for advertisers, because really we're a daily email. So the second you send out a second email in a day is the second, what's wrong here? So our focus has been enhancing the core product to serve advertisers' needs, to serve readers' needs, without taking that next step and endangering ourselves or the association partner. There is a section in each of our partner publications that are specifically designed for the associations to insert whatever content they want. Now, some do this better than others. Some continually just give us the same, come to our conference, come to our conference, come to our conference. Some are very, very good at providing us with excellent content, but regardless, it's presented as content as part of those 10 to 12 stories or 8 to 12 stories, and they have the opportunity to reach the audience with their own message and with their own content, regardless of what we are choosing and what we are not choosing. So essentially, this is content as marketing, or marketing as content for our association partners. Our open rates are around 25%, and I think a big piece of why it's so high, especially for a daily publication, is it's sort of what we were talking about, that serendipity, right? It's, you don't know what's going to be in your SmartBrief that day. It's, as much as I love, let's say, I love Fast Company, right? It's one of my favorite publications, and I get their newsletter. But I know I can skip it because I know what I'm getting, and but this is about opening your email and seeing, is there something from Business Week? Is there something from the Des Moines Register? Is there something from? It doesn't matter as long as it's relevant to that industry, and that always lends itself to a high open rate because people are just wondering, what's going to be inside of there that I couldn't find on my own. Our click-through rates are pretty strong as well. And what we do and what you see here is a dashboard for our associations. In fact, they can look into this themselves. So this is a great view, and it's a great set of data for the associations as well to say, what are we basing our decisions on? And to be able to say that our readers or our members are responding to this type of content, maybe we should develop reports around that. Maybe we should develop conferences around that. So it's a great dashboard for them to use to build out their own marketing or their own conferences.